How did the Greek civilization arise?
Among the ancient civilizations, the Greek civilization can be identified as a civilization that had a significant impact on modern civilizations. BC around 2000 there was a migration of people from the northern lands to Greece. Those immigrants spoke an Indo-European language. This was what became the first language of the Greeks. Like most civilizations in the world, the Greek civilization was not a river-valley civilization. But its soil was fertile. Greece received enough rain for agriculture. Because of that, there were basic factors necessary for the establishment of settlements and to maintain agriculture, and settlements in Greece were gradually formed. The Greeks cultivated cereals and olives and mainly grapes. Greece had no Bible. The Bible of Greece was the Iliad and Odyssey of the poet Homer.
Were the ancient Greeks monotheistic or polytheistic?
The ancient Greeks were polytheists. Although many gods were worshipped, the most important were Zeus, Apollo, Athena, and Mars. Mount Olympus was believed to be the home of all the Greek gods. It is mentioned in history that they did all the prayers and sacrifices for the gods at the top of this mountain. Later, the Greeks did not hesitate to build very large and beautiful shrines as their faith and devotion to each god increased.
What gods are called Olympian gods?
The Greek gods are also known as the gods of Olympus because it is said that they were born in the vicinity of Mount Olympus. They are immortal. These gods were worshipped as the main deities in Greek temples and resided atop Mount Olympus. After a 10-year struggle, the Olympian gods succeeded in becoming the supreme gods, defeating the then-ruling gods, the Titans. Although there are many immortal residents of Mount Olympus, only 12 of them are considered the most important.
Who are the 12 main gods of Olympians?
In ancient Greek religion and mythology, the 12 Olympians are the major deities of the Greek pantheon, commonly considered to be Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Mars, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, Hermes, and Hestia or Dionysus. Zeus. Zeus was the king of the Olympian gods. Also the supreme deity in Greek religion. Often referred to as the Father, as the god of thunder and the cloud gatherer, he controlled the weather, offered signs and omens and generally dispensed justice, guaranteeing order amongst both the gods and humanity from his seat high on Mount Olympus. Hera. Hera was the wife of Zeus and queen of the ancient Greek gods. She represented the ideal woman, was the goddess of marriage and the family, and protectress of women in childbirth. Although always faithful herself, Hera was most famous for her jealous and vengeful nature, principally aimed against the lovers of her husband and their illegitimate children. Athena. Athena was goddess of wisdom, war and crafts, and also favorite daughter of Zeus. Athena was the wisest, most courageous, and certainly the most resourceful of the Olympian gods. Apollo. Apollo was a Greek god associated with the bow, music, and divination. The epitome of youth and beauty, source of life and healing, patron of the arts, and as bright and powerful as the sun itself, Apollo was, arguably, the most loved of all the gods. Poseidon. Poseidon was the Greek god of the sea and rivers, and also creator of storms and floods, and the bringer of earthquakes and destruction. To the Romans, he was known as Neptune. He was perhaps the most disruptive of all the ancient gods. But he was not always a negative force. Mars. Mars was the Greek god of war. Mars is the most unpopular of all the Olympian gods because of his quick temper, aggressiveness, and unquenchable thirst for conflict. Artemis. Artemis was the Greek goddess of hunting, wild nature, and chastity. She is the daughter of Zeus. Artemis was a patron of girls and young women and a protectress during childbirth. Demeter. Demeter was one of the oldest gods in the ancient Greek pantheon. As a goddess of agriculture, she guaranteed the fertility of the earth and protected both farming and vegetation. Aphrodite. Aphrodite was the ancient Greek goddess of love, beauty, desire, and all aspects of sexuality. She could entice both gods and men into illicit affairs with her beauty. Dionysos. Dionysos was the ancient Greek god of wine, merriment, and theatre. Being the bad boy of Mount Olympus, he was perhaps the most colorful of the Olympian gods. Hermes. Hermes was the ancient Greek god of trade, wealth, luck, fertility, animal husbandry, sleep, language, thieves, and travel. To the Romans, the god was known as Mercury. Hephaestus. Ancient Greek god of fire, metallurgy, and crafts, Hephaestus was the brilliant blacksmith of the Olympian gods. To the Romans, he was known as Vulcan or Vulcanus.
How did the Olympian gods originate?
Mother Earth, or Gaia, held her first child, Uranus, or sky above her. Uranus's wife will also be Gaia. Uranus and Gaia had 18 children. As 12 Titans, 3 Cyclops and 3 Hecatoncheias. Despite having 18 children, Uranus, who was a cruel husband as well as a cruel father, did not allow these children to be free. As soon as their children are born, Uranus hides them deep within the earth. Unable to bear these things anymore, Gaia makes a weapon to destroy Uranus. It is a scythe made of adamantine. Gaia then tells her children that if they want freedom, they must destroy Uranus. Out of these 18 children, only Cronus, who was the youngest Titan, had the courage to accept this challenge. Cronus cuts Uranus to pieces with his adamantine scythe. Cronus then frees his siblings and becomes the ruler of all men and gods. From the blood of Uranus at the time of his death, a race of very strong and violent giants called the Gigantes, a group of vengeful goddesses called the Erinsen or Furies, and the nymphs of the ash tree were born. It is said that after Cronus became the ruler of gods and men, the golden age of the world began. During this time, the gods have been living among the people on earth. However, this was only for a short time. Becoming as cruel as his father, Cronus imprisoned his brothers Cyclops and Hecatoncheias in the underworld of Loki Tartarus. The dragon called Camp is used to guard them. They do so in fear of their brothers rebelling against him because they are as fierce as he is. Cronus' wife is his sister Rhea. They both have 6 children. Cronus hears a prophecy that he will be overthrown by a child of Cronus. Cronus then devours his 6 children. Seeing her husband's cruelty, Rhea approaches her mother Gaia for help after she is about to give birth to her 7th child. Following Gaia's advice, Rhea goes to Crete to give birth to her child. It is an island belonging to Greece. In Crete, Rhea gives birth to her 7th child, Zeus. After that, leaving baby Zeus in Crete, she gives Cronus a stone dressed as a baby. Thinking it was his 7th child, Cronus swallowed this stone without any doubt. After Zeus grows up and becomes powerful, he approaches Cronus in disguise as the wine bearer of Cronus. Here Zeus adds a substance to Cronus' wine to make him vomit. After drinking this, Cronus began to vomit the children he had swallowed. Zeus, who was the youngest among them, is regarded as their elder from then on. Zeus fights against Cronus with the help of Cyclops and Hecatoncheias, who are imprisoned by Cronus. After a decade of war, Zeus defeated Cronus. It is mentioned in some places that the defeated Cronus fled to Latium. After the victory in battle, Zeus began to share the world with his brothers and rule.